Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences.
Welcome back to the Workbench After Hours. This is part 2. And
You know, Joe White, every time we have him on here, the podcast just keeps going. So we decided to split it in two.
Sorry, everybody. Or as they say in Mexico City, lo siento, lo siento.
So this is, we had him on, and last week we talked about this whiskey, same whiskey of the week, the Russell Reserve 10-year. So we are going to continue from our last conversation.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you being on.
As you can see, it
pretty good.
it made an impact on us. We liked it. We still like it.
Yeah.
Wait a second. So wait, this was supposed to be like.
Yeah, it is.
Whatever.
I'll
Sorry.
figure what
Sorry,
edited
man.
out. So we appreciate you guys. So yeah, this is part 2, taking over from last week. So if you haven't tuned in, check out last week's episode because this is a continued conversation with Big Joe on just everything we want to talk about.
I just pulled this out of the wash. I wore it. I think I wore this last week, and yeah, I'm still wearing it today.
Yep. I think this will
Exactly.
be 3 weeks in a row with Mahomes.
Nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just keep it up.
Yep.
You probably don't follow what's going on in the gun world
I
too
don't.
often. So there's a lot of bad stuff right now that we talked about. And the senator of California, I forget her name.
Dianne
Okay.
Feinstein?
Yes. She just introduced another bill today to ban. So not only are they trying to ban, the assault rifles, we're always trying to ban assault rifles. Now it's assault weapons, which kind of lumps in
Everything.
everything. So anything that can take more than 10 rounds is considered an assault weapon.
I wonder what they
And-
consider a full auto now.
We had a clip with Governor Newsom last week where after those shootings that he was basically saying, they're trying to make everything
They said that those guns are weapons of mass destruction.
Yes, that's
Well,
what
that's
it
the
was.
funny thing. I mean,
And the fact that all these recent shootings happen in the state that has the strictest gun control laws show you
It doesn't work.
it doesn't work. But nobody gets it. It doesn't work.
that and I mean, case in point number 2, city of Chicago.
Yep.
Same thing.
It's basically illegal to own a gun.
Here in Kansas, I didn't even know that you don't even really need a concealed carry permit anymore to conceal.
Yep.
As long as you have
As long as you
Legally-
don't cross the state line.
right. As long as you legally purchase your gun, anybody can carry a gun, can conceal and carry a gun. Anybody can carry a gun. I mean,
As it should
and
be.
honestly, there's not a whole lot of shootings going on here.
Yeah.
Certainly not mass shootings. And
I don't think we've had any.
I don't know. I mean, to me, that just speaks to the fact that
So you're telling me if you're a bad guy and you know that people could potentially be carrying a gun, you're not going to do anything?
you have to think that's
You're
what's
gonna have
going
to think
on.
twice about it.
Man.
I mean, you
Real
have to
hard.
think that that's what's going
but
on.
if you go to somewhere where you know people can't have guns to protect themselves, guess what? It is fair game.
Yeah.
Like you're going to do whatever. Because criminals, even though they follow the law, they sometimes don't follow gun laws, right? I mean, do you think they're really going through the paperwork, sticking to a 10 or less round gun,
yeah.
getting it in their name? God forbid. Oh no, don't let my buddy shoot it. That's my gun. Yeah, no. And that's why
You can't carry that gun, Jamal. I've got to, when we rob this bank, I've got to be carrying it. It's legally mine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little
And these-
inane. I mean,
And I don't know why these, and it's all pretty much Democrats, unfortunately. Not all of them, but most of them don't get that.
They don't understand science.
Like, okay, Newsom, like you've had all these shootings, you have the strictest gun control, yet this is still happening. Like obviously people are getting guns somehow, and it's not working. So now they want to fucking basically ban. It's so hard to get a gun in California, and when you get a gun, it's featureless. So if you get an AR-15, it's not like the AR-15s we can get. Like you can't just swap a magazine out real quick in their AR-15s, and they have to have this thing around the trigger. It's almost pointless to have one at that point, and then you can't have anything more than 10 rounds. So, but they still have so many mass shootings.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. Chicago, like you've said, any city that has the highest crime rate is a city that has strictest gun control.
And usually our Democrat Ryan.
Yeah. It's because they know that people have a way to protect themselves. So, hey.
I wonder if it's because they stopped really learning about history and probably science.
You know what's funny too is I have several Democrat friends that are totally pro-gun and are armed.
Yeah,
and
like I said,
it's not just the Democrats,
Yep.
but Democrats in charge anyway. Need to open their eyes for God's sake. I mean, but
and we've been saying this forever. So it was always AR-15s. All of a sudden turned into assault rifles. Assault rifles. Then they have kind of gone to assault weapons. Now there's assault pistols. So now instead of just doing an assault assault rifle ban, they're trying to do assault weapons ban, which is anything that can hold over 15 rounds.
Well, I've heard them describe the AR-15 as a military
grade weapon,
style
war weapon.
It's like,
nope.
There's no way that
You think any of our soldiers have a
our soldiers aren't going to battle with an AR-15. They're
Pretty sure
going to
they
last about 10 minutes.
Pretty sure they got this little switch and they just
It's a 22 rifle.
hold this
Right?
trigger one.
Well, so
It's a 22.
So they still have a form. They have the M4, the M16, which still takes the same rounds that the ARs do. They just have the either 3-round burst or full auto option with a shorter barrel.
Yep.
As civilians, we have to have a 16 inches or longer. Generally, they're 14 inches in the military, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. But you could shoot full auto basically on those.
Yep.
Because the AR-15s look like those guns, but don't quite function like those guns, they're weapons of war. Because it looks like a gun that the military uses, but if I pull the trigger once, only one round comes out. In the military, you pull the trigger once.
You can have multiple.
Does
fly.
that mean that those little BB guns that shoot the yellow BBs that look like the M16s or whatever, does that mean that's an assault weapon?
Probably.
I mean,
That's where we're going.
Airsoft
that's
guns.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
Well, and what sucks is, so obviously pro-gun people are trying to get the word out, but we keep getting suppressed by not even so much the media anymore. It's Meta, of freaking controlling everything because they own.
is that Facebook?
They own, they own Facebook. They own freaking YouTube,
Instagram.
Yeah.
Pretty much everything besides Twitter.
What's happened? So, guns and YouTube have
Gone hand in
gotten
hand.
worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
So when I started my YouTube channel, probably 10 years ago, was doing the videos originally. That's how I learned how to build an AR-15 from scratch, is watching YouTube videos, because people would show, hey, this is how you put it together, how it works. Now, you can't. They've taken down all those videos, which fine, whatever. Okay, so we're not going to show you how to build an AR-15. It's to the point now, you literally cannot insert a magazine in a gun on a video. You cannot show a 30-round or larger magazine in a video. You cannot change a weapon in any way. So if you want to add a flashlight to a gun, don't do it on video. If I wanted to show you how to mount a scope to that gun, can't show it on video. Like, you literally cannot do anything. I had a video taken down yesterday. just a regular gun review. I didn't modify it. I just reviewed the gun, and it happened to have a fake suppressor on the end. And I said in the video, this is a fake suppressor. It doesn't do anything to suppress the sound. It's just for aesthetics to mimic the actual full auto gun that it's replicated from. They shut the only thing I can figure is that they shut down that video and actually took it off YouTube because I take it off. I unthread it, literally unscrew it from the end of the gun, do some more reviews, and then thread it back on. That's what got it deleted, because I was threading on a suppressor, but it was fake.
Yeah.
Mr. Guns and Gear has had his channel banned a bunch of times. Another big gun YouTube channel. Actually, a lot of them have. Yeah. And it's because they've had suppressors. And in the video, you're putting on a suppressor. And because you're putting on a suppressor in a video, YouTube is deleting your channel, like your video. And if you get 3 strikes, so if you get in trouble 3 times, they delete your entire account. Which sucks is because unless you have all those videos backed up, you lose all of that.
Yeah.
So it started, like, they just get worse and worse. Like, the YouTube guidelines for guns have gotten so strict where you can't show people how to safely.
It's not even guns anymore too. Like, even like I've seen hunting videos get taken down on like, this is how you field strip a deer, or I can't show you this knife now because they won't like that, or this bow. So you're like, how the hell are you supposed to get any information?
Yeah,
like,
it's bad. They don't agree with it. So whatever they don't agree with.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it's like a lot of, like, the shotgun video you have, I've actually show you how to change out the furniture. That's probably going to get deleted soon. And any gun that I have to where, I think we have a couple podcasts where I take the suppressor on and off. That's going to get taken down probably. So it's not if, it's when. And then it's like, fuck. So I re-uploaded that video. I edited it. So I blurred out myself, take it off. Yeah. Which is like, of anything that I'm going to do a video on, because I unthread this fake suppressor. If you have to Google a video how to remove a suppressor or install one, you're a fucking idiot. You just literally thread it on there like you're like a screw. It's like, but God forbid I show that. So we'll see what I'm going to have that go out live probably Monday to see
if it gets.
It's already demonetized. I already can't. I don't know what their AI figures out, but for whatever reason, I can't run ads on that video.
The one thing they should be freaking doing and governing is AI, just of what it can do.
Yep.
I'm shocked we don't have any governing laws on AI.
Well, I don't get what makes that video different
from all the other ones.
All the other ones that I do, and it's okay to monetize, because I'm not saying anything. Like, I don't know how it figures out. I think because the gun mimics the one that was used in that California shooting, because the guy used a MAC-10.
Yeah.
This is a replica. It's technically a Masterpiece.
That's basically a handgun, right? The MAC-10. I mean,
yeah, it is, and they're garbage. Like, they're super unreliable and terrible. But this one is like a semi-automatic civilian version. It's actually called the Masterpiece Arms Defender 30T. It's not a MAC-10 or a MAC-11, but some people think it is. But I don't know why that video, where I just go review it, talk about the gun, I don't even have the magazine. I don't take the magazine in and out of that gun at all. But that's demonetized right away, and then it gets taken down. Whereas other videos where I'm reviewing 2 guns, taking magazines in and out, totally fine.
That's on YouTube?
Yeah.
How much business do you think you get from YouTube?
It's growing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get it even bigger. So,
but I mean, do you get a lot of business from YouTube?
Trying to get ad money off YouTube. So I've gotten paid recently for that. I
mean, is it worth your while to stay on there? Is what I'm asking.
This goes on YouTube, so this video version that we're recording.
So I'm about to give the finger to YouTube. Are they going to take it down?
Fuck you, YouTube. Fuck you.
So is that going to come down?
It could, yeah.
Ridiculous. This will be the first time I've ever been taken down.
And what sucks is like there's it's got to be AI, because they send you an email that says, "Oh, your video has been flagged and taken down," because of what they don't give you the specific reason why. It says it could
Just
be because of this. I'm like, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but has this always happened, or was it? When did this start happening? When did it?
Probably a few years ago.
Like
Yeah,
how
they
many
started-
years? Like how many years ago? 2019, 20 or so. Probably.
No, it happened before that.
Oh, it
Yeah.
did. Okay.
It's
Oh, well,
they
Barack
keep-
Obama years.
Was
Yeah.
it? Oh, really? Okay. I was gonna guess it was after 2016. Anyway.
Because honestly, it wasn't that long ago where you could do videos on how to build an AR. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, because I think I watched how to build all my ARs not even 5 years ago.
But all those videos have
Yeah, they're
since been
gone.
deleted. And like it's if you're like what I like to do is try and review a gun, because if you're trying to look into doing research like me, I always watch videos
Yep.
about whatever I'm trying to buy. And and I also do gun cleaning videos or how to take it down, because you want to safely and accurately be able to
Tear it apart. and clean it.
take it down and clean it and all this stuff. But they're getting to the point to where it's like any gun that shows up in a video is going to be taken down. Doesn't matter what it is. So
We should make our own YouTube and just put the U and then tube and make our own.
the problem with
platform
that
that
is YouTube, the amount of storage.
You just need servers, server rooms.
You need a big. Nobody can compete with YouTube
X. Sure, you can.
So there's Rumble, which
Yeah.
I've gone over to, and it's another similar to YouTube. It's a lot more on my end confusing to navigate to do, but watch videos. You can actually learn. You can upload videos on how to build a gun over there. Like it's a very pro gun website, but it's not known to many people. So it's in that.
I think it's been becoming bigger due to like them with the hunting and things like
Yeah.
that. Like they won't even let you really show how to clean a fish on YouTube anymore.
That's crazy.
So like a lot of the hunting and outdoor stuff, people have been going to Rumble.
Yep. And it's only getting worse. Like we
Yeah.
said, like it's.
Where's our freedom of speech and freedom of press?
If
Damn it.
all of this technology were available back in 1776, the revolution would not have taken as long.
Right.
Everybody would have been able to get online and figure it all out and take up arms and know how to and all of that. Wouldn't have taken as long.
Of course, now if you can't learn how to do that now.
And now they're going to make that impossible. They're trying to make it kind of like it was back then. So,
Yeah, nobody should own a gun, because the reason the Second Amendment is there,
protection from the government.
well, enemies,
against
foreign and
the government.
domestic, which is the government, which is why the whole revolution happened anyway. Joe Biden knows that's our argument, and he has said more than once, blatantly, he's like, if that's your reasoning, he says you need F-15s and nukes and all this stuff to take down the federal government.
I'm pretty sure we proved wrong on January 6th. You don't need much.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Yeah.
If all those people would have been armed.
Oh, yeah. Been
None of them were.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if all of them were?
Yeah. We'd have a new government.
I mean, which I'm not. I mean, thank God they weren't.
Yeah. But
I mean, thank God they weren't.
yeah.
We would all be absolutely fucked.
Flabbergasted too. Like,
well,
what
I mean,
the fuck
what-
just
like,
happened?
You said you just said we'd have a new government. It's like, man, it would be an absolute shit show.
Yep.
Thank God that they allowed all those people in, which they basically did,
Yeah.
and none of them
And they
were
also
bearing
think it was
arms.
The FBI too, controlling
know?
it.
So
You know what? There's just sometimes that government's got to be reminded that they work for us,
Yeah.
not for their because at this point if
It's
you're in
they're
a
working for the
politics, it's
party.
because you don't care about the American people. You care about making money, being in control, having power, and all
money
this
and
stuff.
power.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's it. That's the only two things. It's money and power.
And
I know that there's probably, I mean, there's 430. How many Congress people are there? 400 and
Isn't there 5 something?
no, it's like 430 something. I should know, but I'm sure there's many good people that are trying to serve their constituents, which is the way it's supposed to be.
The freshman ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, once they get a taste, it seems like a lot of them, both sides of the aisle,
Yep.
are just, they're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to just
Yeah.
bitch slap each other back and forth. And it's just so stupid. I mean, it's like, it really needs to go back to, all these votes that they have on the Senate floor, Congress and Senate, they need to, I think it should go back to all the people. Okay, you're going to vote on whatever bill.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's go. We should have more voting here in the States. We should have more,
Input.
election days.
Yep.
Okay, if there's a big vote coming, okay, every state needs to go to the polls, whatever Tuesday that is, and
Vote
vote, and let the people decide it.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise you elect people that you think are going to be your mouthpiece,
And they're not.
they end up not being,
Yep.
and it's like it's dumb, and they just
Yeah.
it's money and power, and it's sad.
It'd be interesting to see. So obviously they keep trying to introduce assault weapons bans and all this stuff. And every time you hear a Democrat speak, they say majority of the American people are for this. First of all, that is highly inaccurate. Second of all, okay, fine. Instead of you fuckers voting on this,
Let the American people.
let the American people vote on if these guns should be banned. And let's actually see what American people say. Because I've never been asked
Nope.
in a poll,
Nope.
where are they getting these figures that most Americans agree? Because I know 90% of the people that I know don't agree with it,
Yep.
Republican or Democrat. It's like, where do they get these most Americans think that there should be gun control? Where are you getting this?
It's made up.
There is gun
Floating there.
control.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gun control. I mean, for God's sake.
And there's about to be millions upon millions of criminals deemed by the ATF here in about 120 days. What we've talked about on the last couple of podcasts. The ATF, so they're changing how they classify a certain type of firearm that is going to affect millions of people. And you only know this if you follow the gun news. If you have no idea, like somebody like you that bought a gun and you don't watch these gun YouTube channels or anything like that, you would have no idea that in 120 days you're going to become a felon, can face up to 10 years in jail, $250,000 fine, just because you didn't know that the ATF decided to change their mind on something that they said was legal, but now they're going to be like, oh no, we're changing our mind.
That's not even law.
Yeah. And the ATF, like we said, can't make law,
Yep.
but they're trying to.
What are you talking about?
So it's called the pistol brace ruling. So if you have an AR-15, like your AR-15 is, you have a 16-inch barrel with a regular solid stock, right? That's a rifle because it's 16 inches or longer. A short barrel rifle is the same setup, but if your barrel is less than 16 inches, which they make, and you can have those, if you have that in your setup with a solid stock that's less than 16 inches, if it is a short barrel rifle, you have to register that with the National Firearms Act, which entails you to fill out a bunch of paperwork, pay a $200 tax stamp, and there's a lot of restrictions that you do with that gun, but you could own a short barrel shotgun or rifle.
They consider 16-inch barrel
Less than 16 inches.
less than 16 is short barrel.
Yep.
Short barrel, which is very heavy regulated. So
Yep.
if you were to shorten your barrel on your rifle with that solid stock, it's a short barrel rifle, you can own it, but more paperwork and a $200 tax stamp. And you can't just take it across state lines. There's stuff that you have to do. But there's these things called pistol braces that were developed for
disabled veterans.
Yes. And what that was is because a disabled veteran couldn't hold up a 16-inch rifle. So they made this company made this stabilizing brace. So it's basically, instead of a solid stock, it has this, I wish I had one here, but it has a brace that goes around your arm. And they were able to stabilize the rifle at that point. And it's called a stabilizing brace. So you could put it on a rifle, 16-inch or longer. But then if that stabilizing brace was on,
it's kind of like a tripod or sort of. Or?
No, it kind of like wraps around your forearm and it's got Velcro, so it'll Velcro to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if let's say you were missing your hand or something, you couldn't hold a full-fledged rifle. But if the stabilizer brace would go around and pretty much clamp to your arm that you do have, that was a way for you to keep it stabilized and be able to shoot that weapon. But people found out that, hey, I can put these on shorter barreled AR platforms, and it's classified then as a pistol. So a lot of people started doing it, and eventually the ATF got on. And now they're trying to go back and say everyone that has a stabilizer brace on their weapon needs to be a short barrel rifle. And you got 120 days to convert it to either a full-size rifle, or you got to follow this new law or rule.
Mm-hmm. So here are some pictures so this right here is the brace, how it's supposed to be formed. So you see, instead of a stock that you shoulder, it actually kind of wraps around your forearm there.
Yeah.
And this is what they look like. So in that situation,
what is that he's holding?
It's an AR-15.
Is it?
It is. It's just a different format, but there's a lot of different platforms. But this is what it looks like, and it's meant to go around your arm. So instead of a solid stock, there's a hole that your arm goes through. So the ATF approved these in 2012, and if you had this on a barrel length less than 16 inches, so a short-barreled rifle, but you had this brace, it technically did not meet the definition of a rifle because it wasn't meant to be shouldered. So it fell into the category of a pistol because you don't shoulder a pistol. And with this brace on there, it wasn't meant to be shouldered. So you could technically have a less than 16-inch barrel with that brace on there, and it's a pistol, right? So pistols are legal. So people kind of found this out. This was a gray area, and basically you could have a short barrel rifle. You could still shoulder these.
I was going to say, it looked like those guys were shouldering them fine.
So the ATF is
just extend this, like that guy's like has a stock extended back or whatever.
Yeah, so you can shoulder them, but the ATF originally said don't shoulder them, but then they changed their mind. Like, well, you could shoulder it sometimes, just don't primarily shoulder them, and you're fine. It's still a pistol in that format. And so a lot of people millions of people actually have rifles in this setup where it's a short barrel with a pistol brace. So in this setup, this is not a rifle, it's a pistol. It is registered as a pistol, like you filled out your paperwork as a pistol. Legally own it. Do people shoulder it? Yes, but unless you get caught by a Fed, whatever. So
I mean, they would literally have to catch you in the act of shooting the weapon.
Yes.
Right?
Right. So
that's ridiculous.
For 10 years, it's been legal to have this setup. They've recently, a couple weeks ago, decided, oh, no. Instead of that being a pistol, that is now a short barrel rifle. So what you bought as a pistol and legally own as a pistol is now a short barrel rifle, which is regulated by the National Firearms Act. So not only are you are a what was the term that they deemed you? A non-registered person or a non...
But I mean, if you bought it legally, they're not going to just grandfather, even if they...
Nope. No grandfathering.
They're saying you got 120 days to get it as an NFA item, that they're going to waive the fee, that $200 fee, but then they're going to have because when you
they're going to go door to door to people that...
Like they're talking about, like if
that are in the database or whatever, and
This will build a
collect
database.
these guns.
This will build a database. Pretty much is what they're trying to do.
I mean, do they have the authority to like
No,
just change?
No, they don't.
So this is what it is. So basically, people would, and the big elephant in the room is this is a workaround to have a short barreled rifle without having to do the paperwork. So they finally caught on though. So this was a pistol. Just that's probably what, a 11-inch barrel with a pistol brace. The ATF for 10 years has said this is a pistol, not a rifle. And now they're changing it to, that's a short barrel rifle. Millions of people have this set up because the ATF has said for 10 years that
it's fine.
It's fine. And there's different versions of the gun. You got stuff in AK form, but anything that has a barrel length less than 16 inches with that on there is now considered a short barrel rifle that falls under the National Firearms Act. So no grandfather clause. And it's actually really hard there's a lot more paperwork. Instead of just filling out that form that you do with your gun, you have to go get fingerprinted. You have to take pictures of the gun. Like, this is registered with the government. The government knows what you have under the NFA Act. So they know what you have. You have to notify your sheriff's department. You have to send a copy of your application to the local sheriff. So not only do they have your fingerprints, a picture of the gun that you have, it's registered, all this stuff. You have to normally pay $200. Nobody else can shoot this gun. So you can't just be like, oh, hey, my buddy wants to borrow this. If it's under the NFA, you have to be present. So there's a lot of stuff that this is changing, and just overnight they decided, hey.
Man, don't they realize that, by putting all this in, all they're going to do is drive, law-abiding citizens to, buy guns illegally? Don't they realize that that's what's going to end up happening if they keep on pushing this and pushing this and pushing this? Then people that believe in guns and protecting their household and their family, if they can't do it legally, they're going to do it illegally. Don't they get that?
No.
I mean, so that's ridiculous.
They're like, so they give you, they're like, okay, we know millions of people have this. We're going to give you 5 options. And you have 120 days to do so, or else you're a criminal. So you're an unlicensed possessor is the term. So even though you legally purchased this gun as a pistol, and they said it was okay, once this rule goes to the federal registry, you become an unlicensed possessor of that gun. You have 120 days to either replace the short barrel with a 16-inch barrel. So you have to change the upper, and then it's no point in having that brace on there. So change the barrel, or remove the brace so that it can't be reattached. So basically then you're just stuck with a buffer tube. And they've said that if you put anything, and this is where the ATF is so vague. They said anything with a shoulderable surface on the end of a gun would be considered a short barrel rifle. Well, if you know anything about ARs, that pistol tube, you could shoulder that. Yep. It's like what, an inch or so thick.
What people are probably going to start doing is
what is a shoulderable surface? It's not defined. Like it's up to their interpretation to determine. Oh, it has a surface area that you could shoulder it.
Oh.
What is that? They didn't define that.
So what if you like weld on a knife to the back end? That's technically not shoulderable,
right?
So I mean, but like, what about here in Kansas? A gun-friendly state. I mean, what if, so say I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to need to go and buy a gun from whoever if they're going to be looking down their nose at me for having this, and they're going to come after me, because they, if I buy it from a licensed gun dealer like you, they're going to know who I am, where I am, what I have, all that. Well, that's going to drive people to buy it from somebody else, where no one will know that they have it. Well, what if I were to do that, but I'm in Kansas and I've got a gun that I bought, but it's legal for me to have a gun. I've got it. I bought it. No, I don't have my receipt, but I've never, all the guns I have, I don't fire them. Okay, but I've got this gun that I bought off Jimmy over here. And I haven't fired it either, but.
Are you talking about in this?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, but I'm in Kansas and it's legal.
It doesn't matter. This is at a federal level.
Yeah. So don't get caught by a Fed.
Which you don't have a gun in this setup, so you don't have to worry about this. But millions of people do, and you legally purchase this gun as a pistol. But now they're changing the classification. And they're like, no, this is actually a short barrel rifle. And what sucks is they give you some options. You could forfeit it to the ATF office. Like you could turn it in and be like, hey, I don't want this. Or destroy the firearm. Destroy it. Fucking stupid. Or you have 120 days to register it as a short barrel rifle. Here's the problem. There are several states that SBRs are illegal. Hawaii, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. And so you can't have a short barrel rifle, but you can have a pistol. So those people that lived in those states and had those guns, and bought them as a pistol, their only option is to turn it into the ATF or destroy it because they can't register it as an SBR because it's illegal in that state. And if you do take it to the ATF and turn it in, you could potentially be incriminating yourself because you had an illegal firearm.
Yep.
So there's a lot of...
There's got to be a way. I mean, they can't just do it that black and white.
And the ATF does not have the powers to do this.
Yeah.
But they're doing it. And there's Gun Owners America, the NRA, other people are trying to do lawsuits, but how long is that going to take? Once this gets submitted to the federal registry, you have 120 days. Lawsuits take longer than 120 days. What's going to happen? Like people are going to be in limbo.
Yep.
And in the states that you legally bought this in, but if it's an SBR, you can't own an SBR in that state. You're fucked. But you don't want to turn it in because you can get. I mean, they say they're not going to charge you with anything for turning it in, but it's like, oh, well, you had an unlawful gun, blah, blah, blah.
They're going to have a really hard time prosecuting anybody retroactively. I mean,
you would think
they're gonna meet with a lot of freaking blowback, man. That's not gonna.
And this is not gonna happen. There's other things. So if you comply and you were to register your gun as a short barrel rifle like they want you to.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but number one, how would I even do that? I bought it from you. So, I mean, and
this is the thing that fucking sucks is you have no idea this is going on. Say you were to have this gun in this setup that you're affected by. You're not, by the way. So, but if you were, you don't follow the news. You have no idea this is going on.
Right.
So
go to the gun range with it. You're going to go shoot.
There's so many people that have no idea that
this is even going on.
The gun they have is now going to be considered illegal. And it's not like it's like, oh, a slap on the wrist. Like if it's an NFA item,
you're going to get
that is a big deal. Like big deal.
So is the scary thing that they're starting there and then they're going to work. That's their way of eliminating those. And then they're going to slowly work their way down and eliminate, this gun and this gun and and this gun and get it to where we're back to a 6-shooter.
Yeah.
And that's it. Otherwise you're illegal.
That, and then all these guns are registered with the government. So they know you have it. And it's not like if you have an NFA item, you can't just sell it to
Joe Schmo on the street.
Whoever. You have to take it to a dealer that has the proper license to deal in NFA items and do it that way. So that's a whole nother issue too, is you can't just easily get rid of those guns and sell them and buy them. Like you have to have the proper license to do it. And so millions of people are just either stuck with this gun if they decide to register it or have to destroy it or turn it in. There's no buyback. So yeah.
Just bury it.
But I think the ultimate goal here is a mass registry.
That's what
at the end of the day is, because they can't. They obviously know that we haven't gotten anywhere with banning assault weapons. We haven't gotten anywhere with any sort of registration. So let's change the way we perceive these weapons
Yep.
to where they have to register them. And there you go. You have, and then if they, who knows, down the road say, oh, we're going to, these, you shouldn't have these. Well, we know
who's got them
now. Like, we know what you have. You sent us a picture of it.
Yep.
And you can't just go say, oh, I sold it to Joe Schmo, because you can't just sell these to whoever. Like, it's a very big deal.
How would I go about registering? Since I bought it from you, is it automatically already registered?
Nope. So nope. So you have to go onto the ATS website, fill out what's called a Form 1.
But I mean, like the guns that I already have.
You're fine. The guns that you have are not affected by this in any way.
Oh, no, I'm not even talking about this. I'm talking about the guns that I have that I bought off of you. Mm-hmm. I don't have to register those guns. I mean, it's already like a legal purchase through a registered gun dealer.
As of right now.
Right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So when they, if somebody were to raid my home and find my guns and say, where's your registration for this gun? I mean, do they even do that? I mean,
no.
Okay.
No, regular guns, which these were, there's no registration. So they're not going to ask for, they may take the gun and then do a background on it and like a trace. So they'll run the serial number and see where that gun was manufactured and then where it left.
Sold.
But the registry for the guns that I own.
There is none.
There's none.
Oh.
There's supposed to be none. But we know that's not the case.
But there is a way for them to quickly see that I legally own the guns that I have when they find them in my apartment, when they raid my apartment.
No.
Really? I mean,
there's no.
Maybe I guess I just don't understand.
In order for them to find
how do they know that I legally own the guns that I have when they come down on me for, jaywalking or whatever? I mean,
if they found you, if for whatever reason they didn't think you should own those guns or wanted to check it, they have to do a trace. So they would take your gun, so say the Hellcat Pro, they would go back to the manufacturer. So they'd go back to Springfield and be like, all right, here's this gun with the serial number. Where did it go after it left the manufacturer? So then, it went to Lipsy's, which is a distributor. And then from Lipsy's, I bought it and it came to me and we check our records. And because I have a logbook that goes every gun that comes in and out, there's a log of it that I have to keep track of. And so I got it from Lipsy's, and then I disposed of it to you, and then I put, you filled
and
it.
right there, when you disposed of it to me, that doesn't automatically register it to me.
Nope. Well, no. What that form that you're filling out is doing is just making sure that you're legally off. You're able to own the gun. There's no registry, or there's not supposed to be one.
And I don't have to register it.
No. As of right now.
I just legally own it. I don't have to register it.
No.
I guess I don't understand the whole registering it. And
there's not, on a regular firearm, there's not a registry. Now, is the ATF trying to do stuff to make one? That's a whole nother conversation. But technically, there's supposed to be no record of what guns that you have, other than if you bought it legally.
Really, I did not.
No,
I did not know that.
Yeah. So, like right now, the government has no idea what guns you have. Now, if any of those guns were to be used in a crime, they would do that trace, and they would find out that I transferred it from me to you, and then I'm like, he had this form, so each form has a certain number. Joe White, it was disposed to Joe White under form 4473. My number, say 478. So if they ask, I have to pull that form, like, here's Joe White's information, and then they look at your information, and then they would eventually come to you and be like, all right, what'd you do with this gun, and continue the trace.
Have you ever had to do that?
Yes.
Really?
Several times.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. No shit.
So what they do is they send you, they call you, but then I don't answer. So they send an email saying, hey, we're doing a trace on this gun. We saw you got it from X distributor. Where did you get it? And so then I got to go through. Luckily, I keep a spreadsheet, so I enter the serial number, and then it pops up, and I'm like,
so it's very important for you to keep your shit in line.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's what the ATF. When I first started this, I asked the guy, the ATF agent, because they interview you, and I'm like, is there a gun registry? Like, do you guys keep track of like the background checks and stuff? He's like, no, there's no registry. We rely on the gun dealers to keep the paperwork just in case we needed to do a trace, but there's no registry, supposedly. Now, with the digital imaging systems that they have available now, and you can do e-forms instead of doing the paper ones like I do, there's a online option. Who knows where that paperwork goes? I have to keep every form that somebody fills out for 20 years. If I go out of business, I have to turn those over to the ATF. So then it's like once the ATF has it, they're scanning them in, saying that there's no registry, but they, if you've ever scanned a document on a computer,
it's a fingerprint at that point.
Pretty easy to find out, search for that document. So that's another conversation. But as of right now, your stuff is not in any way registered with the government.
Oh, I'm not even worried about that. I just didn't know if I, after buying the guns legally, I didn't know if I needed to register them somewhere.
Nope.
I've always heard about registering your guns, and
Nope.
that's okay. Okay, good.
Well, you are good to go, unless the ATF decides that the AR-15 that you have is not cool.
Well, I don't want any trouble. I mean, if they want the gun, I'd give it to them.
No, fuck them. They can't. The ATF cannot make law. Literally, they cannot make law. It has to go through Congress, get voted on, get signed by the president. They cannot make law. This is why this
rule,
you can't just incriminalize
millions of people.
Like, you're changing something that.
Did you say incriminalize?
Whatever. You can't.
I like that. I like that.
You can't turn millions of people into criminals overnight because you decided to reclassify something.
Be felons overnight.
Yeah. And that's why I say that won't happen.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
They're gonna try though.
And we'll see.
Anti-NRA.
And what also sucks is
I've been trying to do a lot of things for a lot of years, and come on, I mean,
what we've recently found out is if you do comply and try to go through the process of getting approved under the NFA Act, they have 88 days. If your background check stays open for 88 days for whatever reason, say if you have a common name. So I've had people get delayed, and the background check never comes back because of whatever reason. So I got to redo it. Eventually it comes back. If it doesn't come back and stays open within 88 days, it's an automatic denial. And then they've said if there's any denials, we're going to take action to go get that gun because you've submitted the forms, all the information, the pictures of the gun. They know what you have. And after 88 days, if that background check doesn't come back as proceed, bam, they're going to come.
Here's my next question. You know how, like, for you to technically, since your suppressors are an NFA item, you're not allowed to possess it until it does come back approved?
Correct.
So what if you turn around and say, well, it's at the gun store, still waiting, so go take your action with the gun store?
And this is where this whole ruling doesn't make sense because you're not supposed to have an NFA item
in your possession
prior. But they're like, oh, well, forget about that. If you have this situation, still fill out the paperwork and we'll see. If you get delayed, then we'll come after you. It just
stupid.
It's the government. There you go.
Stupid.
There's a lot of, because it's 293 pages long.
Yeah.
When it first came out, everybody's like, what the fuck? But people are starting to read the fine print and actually get clarification from the ATF and finding out like, wow, like there's a lot of gray areas that are up to interpretation by the ATF. And yeah. So this is, if you do follow the gun news or gun industry, this has been a very, very big topic because it has a lot of consequences potentially. And like I said,
people don't know.
You have no idea. Say this goes into effect and it does pass for whatever reason. After 120 days goes by, that gun that you purchased legally is now, you're a felon. And if you have no idea, what are they going to do? Like
make an example out of you?
Because then everybody could say, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
There's a lot of single mothers of 3 young kids out there. That, I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? Go, you know,
We don't have
throw these
they don't have
three
the
kids into
infrastructure.
frickin'
They don't have the infrastructure to
foster
put people
care. I mean, come on.
to take care of this.
No,
It's scary though, because it's a big deal.
I'm not worried about it.
We'll see.
Don't worry, fellas.
Luckily, so Jacob does have one of those guns that he's actually trying to sell before this goes into effect. But he's like, well, I wanted.
Is it really going to go into effect though?
They're gonna try
Come
to.
on.
Whatever. So I don't know what it takes for them to submit that to the federal registry. But once they do, or decide to do that, however that happens, once it's submitted to the federal registry, that 120 days starts from that day. So I don't know how that part
This
works.
will always. I mean, even if that were to happen, I mean, this will always go back and forth though.
Well, that
balance of
court,
power.
I don't know.
So
The
if it
court's
does
not
so,
gonna be
so
able to
so
hold
if
up.
this goes to
Right,
effect,
yeah.
and there's a court battle,
It'll get put down.
hopefully.
It should.
I mean,
So
it,
with the
it
ill-
will. I mean, it will.
So the state of Illinois recently did an assault weapons ban, and a judge recently put that on hold because it's unconstitutional.
Yep.
So hopefully something similar to that happens. Bump stocks.
Are they still legal or
There was a ninth.
That was
Cir-
the Vegas guy, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Trump administration banned it without voting on it, which again is illegal. You can't just ban something and make it illegal without doing the due process. And recently, a Ninth Circuit court, I forgot what state it was,
Ninth Circuit Court. Man, listen to this kid.
ruled that unconstitutional.
What is that?
It's a state court. But they ruled it.
Is that what Ninth Circuit Court is? It's just state court?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
So you have the lower courts that are like the circuit courts, and then you have the Supreme Court that is like above everybody. So, like with this pistol brace thing, it'll probably go to the state courts before Supreme Court even looks. The Supreme Court's only going to look at this if there's two courts that rule on it two different ways.
Yeah.
So if two courts rule on it the same way, we're fucked. If they can't agree, then it could potentially go to the Supreme Court if they take it, which they should. But what was that? The bump stock thing got ruled unconstitutional. So now that's thrown out the window. So now they're legal now, apparently. So
I'm going to get one.
I had one, not worth it.
Well, I don't really need one since
Yeah,
all
it's
the
one of
guns
the-
I have, I don't shoot anyway. So.
It's one of those things you don't need, but it's kind of fun to have. But price of ammo right now, you don't want to shoot more than
Yeah.
you can handle anyway. But
No.
it was. I sold mine because I'm like, it wasn't very fun. I don't know.
Are they expensive?
No, they were pretty cheap, but it's trying to get it to recoil the right way to where it does simulate full auto is very difficult. Like
It's almost faster to just keep pulling the trigger.
yes. Yeah. I mean, there's sometimes where you can get just right. It's like, oh, cool for a couple seconds, and then it's
Yeah.
That's why
Let me ask you
I
this.
really
When you-
don't think
when-
that guy had the fucking bump stocks.
Let me ask you this: when you finally got it to where it seemed like it was working, right? Did you scream at all? Did you go ah?
Yeah, I got
Kind of-
super. Yeah,
you know, like
that's-
Rambo.
yeah,
Rambo.
Exactly.
I mean,
Tony Montana.
Yeah.
yes.
I was screaming and say hello to my little friend as I was snorting cocaine.
That was like a mountain of cocaine.
Yes.
And I'm not a cocaine advocate. I've never done cocaine. I'm never gonna do cocaine. It's Scarface.
Yep.
It's classic. So
Go watch it.
Earlier, you had mentioned The Godfather. Have you seen that series about the making of The Godfather? It's called The Offer.
no.
You know who Miles Teller is?
Yeah.
He's one of the main characters. So this is I forgot what streaming platform it was on, but it's called The Offer, and it is a TV show about the making of The Godfather, like what it took to make The Godfather. It wasn't just a.
Is it factually based or is it just
No, it's pretty accurate.
Okay.
So they say anyway. You know, Hollywood. Who knows? But it's about the guy. Forget his name.
Francis Ford Coppola,
The producer of The Godfather.
Mario Puzo, or no,
No, he was the writer.
he
He
the
wrote the
writer.
book.
Yeah.
But it shows that he was actually played a big role in writing the script, because most of the time you don't have the author of a book also write the screenplay. But Mario actually wrote the screenplay with another guy. I forget his name. So it's really good. So I would look it up. The Offer. You don't realize how hard it was for them to make The Godfather, because that was back when Mafia was still
Control.
Frank Sinatra got wind
Mafia
of that.
wasn't just still. I mean, it was coming
prime.
into its.
Yeah.
I mean, they were huge.
Some of the producers got threatened, like by the.
I mean, they in the movie they talk about the 5 families in New York City, but they they name them different names or whatever. But I mean, that's a real that was a real thing. Still, as far as I know, it still is a real thing. I don't know, but
So
I can see that. That was the early 71, I think, was The Godfather.
Yeah,
and
70s.
yeah, I mean that's like the heyday, the beginning of the heyday of the 5 families in New York City.
And that was when Frank Sinatra was big. So the book came out, and huge hit with everybody except for the Mafia, because the way it portrayed the Mafia, they didn't like it. Frank Sinatra, when he got wind that they were making a movie, told the Mafia to make this not happen. Because in the book, apparently
Johnny Fontaine was basically supposed to be Frank Sinatra.
Yes.
Yeah.
So from the book to the actual movie, there's a huge difference in that character, because for whatever reason, Frank Sinatra thought that was about him, and he wanted nothing to do with that. So Frank Sinatra tried to get the Mafia to stop that movie, and they did. And then one Mafia family was like, oh, wait, there's actually money to be made here. And then there was the higher ups that disagreed with that. So it's really
weird
good.
because Frank Sinatra was, I think he was from New York, but I don't know. But he was very, very well connected to the Chicago Mafia. It's all the same thing, but I mean, I think it was Sam Giancana or whatever was the mob boss in Chicago, and he had a lot of ties to him. So at least allegedly he did. And so if what you say is true, that makes sense. So
It was I binge watched it in like 2 days.
really,
It was
pretty good, huh?
It was really good, because obviously I like that movie.
And what's it on?
I'll have to look at it when we get off the podcast. I can't remember, but it's I want to say it's either Amazon Prime, possibly HBO, but
How many episodes are we talking about?
10
Wow.
ish.
Okay.
It was that good, because you just at the beginning it's the producer. It shows him in a job that he was prior, and then he's like, oh, I want to produce and that, and then he finds out this book, and it goes from there. It's
That's a great movie.
it is.
I mean,
and,
well, that and Godfather 2, man, those are two.
and all about.
I mean,
the,
they both won Best Picture for God's
and the
sakes.
fact that they did not, the actual like main producer did not want what's his ass to be the main character.
Al Pacino.
Yeah, they did not. They did not want him as the main character. Like it was the producer, that Miles Teller guy, had to fight so hard. Mario,
Why didn't they want him?
because he didn't fit the look, and they had prior issues with him, and he just didn't
Fit
in.
into what they wanted.
He
Yeah.
had just come off of The Graduate or whatever. The late 60s, he did The Graduate, and he was like a college student and smitten with an older woman and all that. And
he just
he was
wasn't
a geek.
Yeah, he just wasn't fit for the part. But the Mario, the actual writer of the book, was actually part of the casting, and he's like, no, like I have these people in mind for these roles. He was one of them. The guy that played the Godfather.
Marlon Brando.
Yes, there was a lot of convincing to get him to be.
That guy was weird as
He was weird as
fuck.
fuck back then.
Yeah.
And that's why they were like, man,
I say this though. I mean, that he was more normal in The Godfather than. I mean, have you seen Apocalypse Now?
No.
I mean, you haven't seen Apocalypse Now?
I don't think so.
Have you?
I don't think I have either.
It's like from the late
that?
70s. That's Marlon Brando. Robert Duvall, who plays Tom Hagen in The Godfather. He's also in the movie. And Martin Sheen is the lead role. But anyways, it's a Vietnam War movie. You guys haven't seen Apocalypse Now?
Is that the
Guys,
one?
that's a classic.
Is that the one where they play the Russian roulette?
No, that is Deer Hunter.
Okay.
With Robert De Niro.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that is all that.
That's a good movie too.
That was Best Picture 78.
Yeah.
Best Picture. That's a great movie. But Apocalypse Now, I mean, guys, that's a must see. I mean, that's a must see.
I might. It sounds. I don't know. I might have seen it.
We'll have to go back and look.
I mean, fellas, I mean, you don't reconvene at this table without having seen Apocalypse Now. I mean, it's a fantastic movie. That's a must see.
God,
That's right up there with
Top Gun.
Well, yes,
Days
Top
of
Gun.
Thunder.
Days of Thunder. What's the Ricky Bobby movie?
Talladega Nights.
Oh, Talladega. It's right up there with Talladega. No, it's up there with Apocalypse Now is up there with, Deer Hunter. Platoon.
Okay.
Hamburger Hill. Full Metal Jacket. It's right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
It looks kind of familiar.
it's
just based off those
ridiculously good.
pictures.
yeah. I don't think I've seen this.
I think I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Is Harrison Ford in it?
Yeah, briefly. He doesn't play a major role. But dude, I mean, it's a must watch.
All right.
79. Yeah, 79. So, but yeah, that is a must watch. It's odd, but it is. Is that Francis Ford Coppola too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why he's got Brando and Robert Duvall in it.
Is the offer on Netflix?
Like it's on
Paramount Plus. So if you have Paramount Plus,
I've seen that movie 50 times.
what?
Apocalypse.
Oh,
wait. What are you talking about? You're talking about
I was trying
The
to
Offer.
See
Okay,
what,
The
what
Offer.
That's streaming on Paramount Plus. Do you have Paramount Plus?
I do, thanks to you.
All right. Well,
So there
you
you
need
go.
to watch The Offer because if you like The Godfather or just mafia stuff in general, that is a really good show.
Okay, I'll watch it. I will definitely watch it. If you fellas watch Apocalypse Now, I'll watch The Offer.
I'll watch it. I think
Fair
I've
enough.
seen bits and pieces of it after seeing the pictures on there. But it's probably been.
That's a really good Vietnam War movie. It's a good movie.
So you know how last week we had the Russian Nagant revolver on? So if you Google Russian roulette, that gun is...
Deer Hunter? The Deer Hunter gun?
It's not the Deer Hunter gun. The Deer Hunter gun was a Smith & Wesson.
Really? Mm-hmm. How do you know that?
I did some research before I brought that gun on. Because I looked at it, I'm like, this looks like the Russian gun I have, but it
The
wasn't.
one that they were in a little hut with when they
Yeah.
were being held captive, or the one at the end when they were like in the arena and De Niro steps in and plays against Christopher Walken? Or is it the same thing?
Same thing. It's Smith
Okay.
& Wesson. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, man, it's hard to tell because they had their hand on the grip, so I couldn't see the grip. I thought it was the Nagant revolver, but it wasn't. It was a Smith & Wesson. I forgot the model. And then if you look
Like
at
a 38 or?
yeah, it was 38, but it was they have so many different models and frames. But if you actually Google Russian roulette, that Mosin, the Nagant revolver is the first thing that pops up. So that I have this gun, and this was the gun of the week last week.
No shit.
Yeah,
What made that the gun of the week last week?
It's
it's just something.
Just because it was on.
Yeah, it's a gun I had, and we haven't had it on the show, and it's I got a lot of old Milsurp guns.
That grip's cool.
Yeah, it's a.
Are they all like that or?
Yeah, a lot of them are like that. It's one of the very few revolvers that can be shot suppressed because it has a gas system that keeps the gases from escaping. It was actually designed surprisingly in 1895. Mine is from 1916, but it's not like the common day revolvers where the wheel comes out and you dump out the rounds and can load ones. It was an individual. You got to spin it, load it individually.
Yeah. And you could put a regular, like today, 38 round through there.
No.
What,
it is
really.
I'll show you after the podcast what round it is. It's a weird round.
What is it?
7.62 by 33 R.
Are those readily available?
You can buy them, yeah. I have a few different boxes of them. They're available. It's just they're really... When you first look at it, it looks like an empty shell casing because the bullet is seated inside the casing. Instead of sticking out like a normal bullet, it's seated in there.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. And it's because of that gas system.
So it's like is there like a little gap like around the top?
Slight, like it comes to kind of to a point. But what that does is because it's a sealed gas system.
Is it kind of like an uncircumcised penis?
Yes, actually.
Unbelievable.
Surprisingly,
we just brought up uncircumcised penis
and ammo.
Yeah, unbelievable. I bet you never thought we would go there.
But Joe Biden would let us have that gun because it's less than 10 rounds.
So are you saying that Joe Biden has an uncircumcised penis,
or he likes?
I'm not sure he has a penis.
Epstein Island.
We're devolving, but you know, I like where we're going.
Is he even a man?
I don't know.
Is he even alive?
So I know his wife now isn't his original wife, but she seems a lot more there than he does.
She is
coherent than.
She seems really cool to me. I don't know.
So he says he's going to run again.
He's not going to.
He can't.
I don't think it's physically possible.
He can't.
He won't. He will not. He will not be running.
Are you sure about that, though? I mean, that's 2 years from now, but
they
still.
should be impeaching him right now. But
what else is he gonna say? He has to say yes. Well, no. I mean, of course. I mean,
we can only define America in one word. They're
gonna find another candidate. They will find another candidate, and they'd be crazy if they didn't.
Let's hope.
I mean, what's he supposed to say? No, He's halfway through.
Yeah.
What's he gonna say? No, I'm done. I'll be lucky to make it through the next 2 years. No, I'm not running it. No, of course he's going to try and show as much strength as he can.
Yeah,
but it's so if he doesn't do it, you know who another top Democratic candidate is, right? Newsom.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to vote for him.
If he gets in, obviously he's a little more coherent than Biden. Gun wise, we're fucked because
California.
It's going to be it'll be Cory Booker.
Who's he?
Well, the new leader of the minority leader in the Congress now.
So here's the one thing we couldn't understand is
right? Is it Cory? Who's the minority leader in the minority leader in Congress?
Is it Cory Booker? McCarthy, right?
No, he's the speaker.
So here's what we had trouble figuring out. So it took them 14 tries to nominate this Speaker of the House. After all the votes that they did, he kept getting denied. Why didn't they choose anybody else? Like, why wouldn't they? All right, Kevin obviously isn't going to pass. Instead of doing all these backroom deals and whatever, why didn't they
choose someone else?
Yeah. Like, why are you stuck on this guy?
These two people only.
And not, okay, so we've voted on him 5 times now.
But nobody else was going to get enough votes. He had to get
He didn't get enough votes 14 times.
But nobody else was going to come anywhere. You had to get 218.
There's literally no other Republican candidate that could have gotten the votes.
Well, I mean, you had to be a sitting Congress person.
Right.
And no, you needed 218. I mean, if they wanted to vote for somebody else, I mean, hey, their caucus or whatever their group. Okay. If you don't want Kevin McCarthy to be the speaker, fine. There was like a small group of holdouts that wouldn't vote for him. Fine. Put somebody else forward and convince 218 other of you to vote for him or her. And they weren't able to do it. So he was the closest. It's like, okay. They were a few votes shy. There was no way they were ever going to get another candidate 218 votes. So they had a, backroom deals, this and that. I don't know.
He's Republican, but he's from California. I don't trust him.
Well, you should.
We'll see. The ones that
Let me tell you something. There's a lot of good Republicans in California.
The ones that were holding against him were obviously Matt Gaetz, Boebert, Marjorie Taylor. So the ones that you would consider the far right wing were the ones that were holding up the...
Right, because he's a little bit more of a centrist Republican. But you know what? It doesn't really matter. I mean, it was going to be Kevin McCarthy, and we're lucky that we have him.
Better than Pelosi, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, any Republican is better than any Democrat if you look at things from our side.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice if it would go back to everybody working together and trying to get shit done rather than fighting against each other.
That we voted them for to work together.
Yeah, just stop quarreling and help our country and get shit done, for God's sakes. I mean, it's become so stupid.
I mean, we're supposed to be united. It's in our fucking country's name.
Yeah. It's like, oh, man, great. The Republicans took over. It's like, fine. Just, let's see if we can all work together and make the country better. Things have devolved pretty quickly.
The thing that pissed me off, too, is like whenever they did get the election, the first thing they're all, we're going to come together. We're going to work together. They have not done it yet.
Hell, I mean...
And everyone was praising them. Oh, we're going to work together. We're going to become...
No, and...
It's gotten worse.
And it goes both ways.
Yeah, it does.
I'm a conservative, and I realize, man, the Republican Party, which I am a member of, man, they can do so much better, and they need to. I mean, it's ridiculous that it's just so back and forth.
Yep.
And, we need to be able to come together and, okay, I'm out over my skis. I'm not qualified to even talk about this. So don't anybody that's watching this listen to me. No. If this makes the final cut, don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
We don't edit stuff out here.
No.
So.
Oh, good.
I went on a tangent last week about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, can't we all just get along? For Christ's sakes.
United States. We're supposed to be united, motherfuckers.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't lose my shit when Barack Obama got elected twice.
Yeah.
None of us did. I mean, we made the best of it, and the country was good.
Well, he was actually a competent president.
He was.
That's the difference.
Barack Obama's a good man. He's a good man.
Compared to Joe Biden.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
Stupid. I didn't come on here to talk politics, but
we started.
Fuck the Democrats.
I
know you're saying, well, fuck you. Touche.
Yeah.
Touche.
When we started the podcast, we're like, all right, this is gonna be a non-politics podcast. But
non-politics, yes. But this is where the bourbon comes in.
No, it doesn't because. This is a gun channel.
Yeah.
Politics.
That's funny, and I don't know that much about guns. Yet I'm here, and it's fun. I love it. But
yeah, politics is a huge part of
I don't know anything about politics either. You know what I do know about?
That they don't work for us like they should.
I know a lot about squirrels. And I know a lot about baseball and gambling and bourbon.
Clearly not enough about gambling, like as far as picking a team to win every week.
Well, no, actually,
Survivor Pool.
Yeah,
didn't do so hot.
Yeah, but who did do pretty hot and called me every week asking me about his pick?
The guy at the end of the table over here.
Yeah.
I believe his name. I believe his name is you, Keith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I know you're right. You're absolutely right, and I'm so glad that you ran the table. That's so kick-ass. It was. My buddy Donnie out in North Carolina just retired from Olathe Glass. He and I went from last place to first place, and we are now playing for the championship in our elimination pool. He's got me making all his picks. I don't know why, but I'm glad that you consulted me, whatever week that was.
Titans.
Yes, because I told Donnie the same thing because I gave him the same pick. I had talked to you about the Titans, and I told him the same thing. And I'm like, man, we should change our pick. And I told you the same thing. You changed your pick.
Thank God.
And Donnie
I picked Seattle.
Yeah.
And they barely won.
Yeah. But they won.
Yes, that's all that mattered.
Yeah. And we did the exact same thing. And now, granted, we weren't playing for $137,000 like you were. We were playing for $150.
Yeah.
And we're battling it out with this one other guy for $150. But I don't even know if it's $150. It's substantially under 137.
I wish I would.
1,000, so.
I wish I would have won 137, but 7,700.
That's
isn't
pretty
a bad
good.
Winning.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I bet for a little $20 buy-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was. I think I had about. I usually do 4 entries, so it's about $80.
Have you been in this?
Nope.
He needs to get
Are
in
you
it.
coming in next year?
I
You
think
need
I
to
am.
get in. It's $20 an entry.
Yeah.
And you can't do like a couple. You got to do at least 4 entries.
I do 3. I've been doing 3, so it's $60.
Yeah.
I've been on 3, and honestly, I've thought about doing 4 or 5. It's like, I don't know why I need more than 3. Although this year, I needed more than 3 because I lost all 3 of them on week 1. So
guarantee because you don't know who's going to be good, especially because there's huge knockout in the first few weeks, and that kind of you kind of flatline there for
there was
a little
almost
while.
there was almost 7,000 entries at $20 a pop.
Jeez.
Yeah. And after the league fees and all this other stuff, it was like 137,000 plus. So if one person would have run the table by themselves, $137,000.
Nice.
Back early on, back in the day, when I first started playing that league, there was like 300 people, 400 people, and every year one person would win.
Jeez.
Of course, it was was way less money, and once you get more and more and more people in, you're gonna have to split it with somebody, which is fine. $7,700.
Yeah,
that's pretty kick ass. That's not bad.
Off an $80 investment. So.
Yeah.
A lot of stress, but
that'll spend well down in Florida.
Yeah. Today's market, that's like a couple cartons of eggs. But,
That's true. True.
It is.
True.
All right, guys. So we appreciate you tuning in. Big Joe, thanks for being on the podcast.
Thank you for
I
having
know
me,
this
everybody.
was a two-parter. Thanks for sticking around for a couple weeks.
Oh, glad to be here.
So Russell's Reserve, would you buy it?
Yep.
All right, there you go.
I would buy it. I would drink it.
Big Joe approved.
I would keep a bottle in my car just in case I ran out of gas. I would pour it in the tank. I'm sure it would fire my car right back up.
If not, it'll keep you warm.
Yes.
There you go. Well, thanks for joining on. Need to come back on soon.
I would love to.
Talk gun stuff.
Invite me back. I will be back.
Who knows what's going to happen in the next couple weeks, and
Yeah.
maybe the stuff you have will be illegal.
Dum, dum, dum.
Or we'll be celebrating the Chiefs being Super Bowl champions. You never know.
I'm gonna meet your Uncle Rich in Vegas for the Super Bowl.
There
Hopefully,
you
we will be watching the Chiefs. We'll see.
Hopefully.
go. Hopefully. Well, Chris, it is that time.
Oh, remember, this is a YouTube podcast.
What a silky voice.
Remember to like, subscribe, and tickle our bell.
Oh my
And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any other listening platform, remember to like and follow. And with that, have a good one.
I need to go to the bathroom. Whoa. That was awesome.